Joining me now is a five-time PGA Tour winner. He's hunkered down in his second home there in Wilmington, North Carolina. Carl Pettersson, welcome to Mark It Down Live.
Yeah, hey, how are you? Good to see you. It's been a while since we caught up, and it's been fun.
Yeah, it has been a while. And just how are you and Deanna and the kids doing during this home isolation period?
Yeah, we're doing good. We've been down here at the beach for about a month. We got a second home here in Wilmington, North Carolina, and it's been fun being here. But obviously, not a very good thing with the coronavirus going around. But other than that, it's been nice.
You're doing your part, though. We got to stay at home. That's what they're telling us to do, and it's the least we can do. We can hang out on the couch, right, Carl?
I'm pretty good at
that. Well, you started in England, and then or started in Sweden, and then moved to England, and then eventually to Greensboro. That had to be some climate change to have to get used to in high school.
Yeah, I was born in Sweden, and then my father's job took us to England when I was 10, and when I was 16, we moved to Greensboro, North Carolina, and it was a bit of a change, but I was so into my golf, and at 16, it was a great thing for me to move to America.
And I know you won the high school tournament there in North Carolina. It was one of those, I was thinking back to my high school days too. And if some kid would have just come out of nowhere, this new person all of a sudden winning, were they welcoming to you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to win the state championships, actually my second year as a senior. And it was fun playing a lot of junior tournaments and stuff, but it was probably a little surprise to some people.
Then you went to NC State just down the road and had a great career there. Then, of course, on to the PGA Tour, 5 victories. They all have, I'm sure, their unique moments, their unique things. We'll get to those in a moment. But first, I want to talk about a very colorful character you had on your bag for 3 of those wins, and that's Grant Berry, a guy who came from England, I believe, correct?
Yeah, Grant Berry and I started working in Europe together, and we worked on and off for about 12, 13 years with about a 2-year gap. Anyway, he was a great caddy, great guy, funny, great caddy, one of the best caddies I've ever had, and a very funny guy. Kept me entertained.
I will say I had a hard time understanding Grant. There was a lot of times when I talked to him, and I would just sort of nod, and he goes, well, Mark, what's your answer? And I'm like, oh, I didn't know you asked me a question. A lot of funny memories with him, and one that stands out is the story you've told me a few times, and I want to have you tell our viewers again. Him pulling up to the very beautiful Nemacolin Woodlands Resort that used to host the 84 Lumber.
Yeah, we had a rain delay. I think there was a hurricane blowing through, so they canceled play for the day, and he was staying somewhere down the road, so he didn't know what to do, so I told him to come up to the resort because there was a lot of things going on. I told him I'd meet him outside, and the resort there has a big porte-cochere valet service, and I guess he had the small rental car that week, and he pulled in and he threw the keys to the valet guy and said, return it with leather seats and a bigger engine, as he strolled in through the door. You kind of had to be there, but it was funny. It was typical Grant.
It sounds like something out of a movie, yeah. And just that entrance had the huge columns. It was white. Yeah. It was gorgeous, and I could see
Grant an English accent, return it with leather seats and a bigger motor. I think that's what he said, and he tossed him the keys.
Typical Grant, too. And that reminds me, too, of something I know you love to do is play practice rounds on the PGA Tour. I got to play with you a few times, and there was always a fun side wager in your group with Jason Bone, George McNeil, Tim Herron, one of those guys. And it was that you'd win the wager off your guys you're playing with if you went bogey-free. And Grant was a big part of a very interesting one there in Sea Island.
Yeah, we always had a wager, and we always played 2-on-2, and then on side bet was the bogey free, and it didn't happen that often. So we decided to, once you had a putt for par and missed it, you had one time the caddy could come in there and hit the putt. And one time at Sea Island, I was fortunate enough to go all 18 without a bogey. We finally got to 18, and I hit my second shot on a par 4 in there, about 23 feet, 25 feet, and walking up to the green, everybody said, we'll give you the 2-putt, but stage it so Grant has to putt. And Grant had the yips really bad. And so I ran it by 6 feet on purpose, and then I hit a pretty good second putt that actually caught the edge on purpose. And then Grant had to re-hit the putt, and obviously he missed, and everybody started laughing, and it was a fun thing.
How long did you keep the secret from him?
Oh, he knew straight after. Everybody erupted in laughter and stuff like that. He kind of just looked at us and, said a couple of choice words.
I miss those times. Miss playing with you guys. Thinking about on tour, it's been since 2018 that you played on the PGA Tour. I know you had some injuries and stuff. Your nurse, you were hoping to come back to play the Korn Ferry Tour this year. What do you miss most about being on tour? What do you miss the least?
I miss all the friends, all the guys, hanging out with all the guys, people like you, Tom Gillis, Tim Herron, Jason Bone, George McNeil. Miss all my friends. I miss all the good parts of it. I don't miss all the trunk slamming and missed cuts and flying home on Fridays and all that. But I miss the competition and I miss my friends a lot.
I'm with you on all that. And the competition, sometimes it comes through. I mean, 5 times you were a PGA Tour winner. And I think a very memorable moments for you had to be hanging out there with Jack Nicklaus after winning his term at the Memorial.
Yeah, that was probably my biggest win out of the 5. Special win, winning that Memorial tournament like that. And then afterwards, having dinner with Mr. Nicklaus at his house and then flying home. He actually flew me home that night. So I had to wait on the plane to come, and he invited me over for dinner. It was awesome experience.
It's okay to wait on Jack Nicklaus's plane to take
Yeah. Air Bear was pretty nice.
And then you won in your hometown there at the window. I mean, that's pretty crazy to be able to win in front of the home folks where you went to high school.
Yeah, I lived in Greensboro for about 2.5 years, so it was kind of a home game, and lived in Raleigh, not far from there, and it was at Sedgefield, a golf course I love, and that was a thrilling victory. They're all special, in a certain way. You've won 5 times as well, and every win is special. But it was cool to win in a town where I spent some time for sure.
The most surprising win for you, and I think you'd agree, was the RBC Canadian Open, 2012 or 2010. You actually beat my Hawaiian brother, Dean Wilson. There, you guys played together in the final group on Sunday. However, Friday afternoon, I came into the locker room after bogeying 18, and there you were by the computer thanking me for my bogey because it looks like that was going to get us both to make the cut. You kind of had your bags packed and ready to leave town. Eventually, you won, though. How crazy.
Yeah, it was weird. I remember on Friday, I had about a 6-footer for par on, I think I finished on 9. I can't quite remember, but I remember I didn't just slap it. I remember thinking, well, take your time. You never know. But it didn't look very good. I made the putt and then went in the locker room, had lunch, and kind of packed up the bag and started looking at the computer. And it started going the other way a little bit. It was going back and forth, back and forth. You definitely helped me out there. And I think we cheered when you came in. I think, and then I think there was a few beers involved. And before you know it, I'd made the cut and I couldn't drive home.
How about that third round, though? You actually had a putt for a 59 after being over par in the round. How special was that third round?
Yeah, it was a weird round. I was 1 over through 4, and then, 3 hours later, I've got a putt for 59. I'm not sure what happened in between, and it was a very weird victory. Usually all my other wins, I've played well from Thursday onwards, and it just kind of happened, and it was a cool way to win, for sure.
It's a great lesson to never give up. You never know. Like you say, you grinded over that 6-footer, even though you thought maybe that wasn't even going to help you make the cut. But you never know. And to make a cut on the number, and then win is just a tremendous accomplishment.
I was probably when I was 1 over through 4 on Saturday, I was probably dead last place. And then to bring it back like that, it was crazy. I shot 127 on the weekend somehow.
Wow, that was a great win. And you had one more after that, and it's at the place that's right behind me here. You see the lighthouse? Tried to put that up there to make you feel comfortable. You won by 5 shots there. However, us players know, I don't care how big the lead is, winning by 5 shots, there were still some stressful moments on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, especially that golf course, as tight as it is. It's actually one of my favorite courses we play on tour all year. It's fun to play. I feel like every day it plays a little bit different, and you have to hit shots. It's narrow. It's very different from what we play week in to week out, but it's one of our favorite courses. It's fun to bring your family there, and we're winning by 5. I had a 5-shot lead with 9 to go, and that was kind of nerve-wracking because I knew it was mine to win or lose. And but then it was nice going down 18 with a 5-shot lead.
Sure, get that tee shot in between the Calamugi Sound and the OB stakes. You're all good to
I
go.
know, but all these thoughts always creep in. It's not over till it's over, so you got to do your stuff and keep telling yourself it's not over. And I felt pretty good after I hit my second shot in on 18.
How about this week? You gonna have a little watch party? Maybe put the DVD in, or maybe have some hush puppies to go along with it.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know if they're doing any reruns on the Golf Channel of Harbor Town, but it's always fun to watch it on TV.
Yeah, to give our kids that picture of we actually won golf tournaments. I know my kids weren't really totally a part of it. Your kids are a little older than mine, especially Carly. But it's fun to put that DVD in there and say, "Wow, Dad." For me, they're like, "You got a lot less gray hair."
Yeah, Carly can remember it some. Chase not so much, but it'd be fun to win now when they're a little bit older. But yeah, for sure. I wish they had more of a sense of it. And I see some of our friends that are playing now that are winning in their 40s, and it's a special feeling if their kids kind of know what's going on for sure now.
And the kids might be playing golf. They understand how hard it is, and it's not just Dad. It's what he does for a living, but it's not that easy to come by. So where are we going to see you next? Is it on the Korn Ferry Tour when we finally get out of this pandemic to kind of get your card back on the PGA Tour?
Yeah, I was planning on playing a few events on the Korn Ferry this year. I had a hip injury last year, and I was actually going to start right before the COVID-19 broke out. But who knows what's going to happen now when the season starts. But I'll be looking to play a few tournaments here and there, and try to get a few on the PGA Tour too with the past champion status.
I'm counting down pretty much the days. I got 4.5 years, plus or minus a couple of days till the PGA Tour champions. You're a little further away, but certainly we see some players out there that we play a lot of rounds with on the PGA Tour having fun out there. You excited for that in about 8 years' time?
Yeah, 7 years time, seven and a half. But who's counting? Yeah, I can't wait for that. It'll be a lot of fun. I look forward to playing with all our friends out there, and going to dinner with you guys, you and Amy, and stuff like that. I think it'll be the guys I speak to that play on the Champions Tour. They love it, and I can't wait to get out there and compete.
Now I got to talk about a situation in your career just a few years ago that I can't totally understand or comprehend what you were going through, and that's a rule change that made you have to rework a certain stroke in your game, the putting stroke.
Yeah.
Of course, as I'm playing golf, I think of different thoughts, and I go out there and try a new club, but it's never forced on you. And as I think about what you had to go through, did that take a lot of time to try to figure out a new method and take a lot of time away from working on the rest of your game?
Yeah, it took some time, but I think it affected me mentally pretty bad. Really, it was kind of looming there for 4 years. I kind of wish going back that they just said, all right, just instead of having a 4-year wait, either do it or do it not. Ban it then and then instead of looming for 4 years. I have to do an interview about it after every round I played. Every same question about the long putter. What are you going to do? But I've sort of figured it out. I've got a DeMarco claw. I actually putt pretty good that way, and I look forward to the challenge when I get back playing, putting that way.
I remember you saying too, when you looked at your stats, when you came back, the putter was fine. It's just everything else maybe wasn't Carl Pettersson-esque, and that's kind of, it shows how it's a fine line out there between winning golf tournaments and missing cuts. I mean, you almost missed a cut there in Canada and won an event. But there's always that lure, I think, to get better. And when I think about Carl Pettersson's game, I feel it, correct me if I'm wrong, more of a field player. But then you start looking around, all the different guys going to these different teachers and learning different methods. Were you ever lured into trying something new just because everybody else was doing it?
Yeah, when my game started going south a few years ago, I started reaching out to a few teachers here and there, but nothing ever really clicked with me. I never really had a teacher growing up. I was self-taught, and I still kind of like doing it that way. I went to see a few guys, and they had tried to help, but I never quite got the feeling, or I like feeling it myself and try to replicate those feelings, and I kind of know what works for me and what doesn't.
A feeling that one of my instructors, Mark Wood, gave me was, or I guess not a feeling. He talked about how great it would be to feel like you're hitting a cut, but you actually draw it. And I think what he meant by that is kind of when you're really on top of the ball, you know you're going to strike it well. But boy, we always like to hit a draw because you get a little more distance and it's, let's face it, a little more pretty in the air. And I feel like that was your golf swing. When I watched you swing, Carl, it was always mind-boggling to me because it looked like you were turning with your upper body so much to start the downswing, but you hit these beautiful draws. How did you do it?
I don't know. I think I think I hit the draw. I covered the ball well when I was younger, and I hit the draw. It looked like a cut swing because I swung left through impact, which I still do. But I played the ball back in my stance, so I got the ball early in the arc, which promoted a right to left shot. But being able to do that when you get older, you really got to clear your hips at impact and shoulders. And it's become more difficult the older I've got.
And that's part of your injuries too in your hips.
Yeah, I've got both my hips are impinged, and I got a torn labrum in my right hip.
Well, good luck. I hope those get better and come out and start playing again. But on Market Down Live, what we always like to do is finish each show with a swing thought from our guests, something that you've gone to maybe more times than any other swing thought in your career. Do you have one like that?
I do. I do. I like to feel like I clear the hips early at impact, and then I feel like my hands are going into my left pocket through the ball.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, that's if you watch Ben Hogan and slow his swing down, it's like his hands just disappear so soon after impact, and certainly keeps the club face square for a long time.
Yeah, that's the key for me for my swing. I kind of, it looks like I swing left. The ball should cut, but it draws because I play it back in the stand.
Well, I can't wait to try this stuff out back here on my simulator. Put a little more back in my stance, get that draw working again. Carl, thank you so much for your time, and good luck with everything. Enjoy the beach there the best you can in North Carolina, and look forward to seeing you on the golf course, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Sounds good, Mark. Good to see you.